All right, we have a great show today. We've got David Wood on. And are you living a regret-free life? If you're like most people, you probably answered no to that. So today we have coach, author, and performance expert David Wood of Play for Real, and he'll be sharing his 4-step plan to living a regret-free life. And we're going to go ahead and get started right now.
Welcome to the only real estate podcast worth listening to, with your hosts Nick Good, Matt Kelderman, and Brian Force. Combined, they have 26 years of experience and have sold over 1,500 homes. Join them each week as they bring you everything you need to know about real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Nick, Matt, and Brian.
All right, everyone. Hey. It's a great day today.
It is.
If you're catching this live on Facebook, you're probably really watching a replay.
Because today is the Wednesday, the day Facebook Live died.
Yeah. So this may or may not be live on Facebook. I don't know. Derek, are we live? Do we know?
Let me get a check for you here. I'm going to go look. It looks a little sketchy, so if you are here, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yay.
So if you did get in, you've won today. But if not, if you're watching the live replay, type LR down in the comments below. And if you're on YouTube, like we asked you to go over to and watch it on there, just like it, subscribe to it, leave us a comment on there. I mean, we're really going to our YouTube channel, and we need one thing from you right now. We're really focused on building out the iTunes following. So we've got some great downloads happening, but we need to get more on there to continue getting traction. So go ahead and subscribe on iTunes. Leave us a review. We've got some great reviews. They're all 5 stars. So please, if it's 4 stars or below, don't leave us a review.
Yeah, don't screw it up.
So, I mean, we've got a great show today. This is something that I think kind of hits home to a lot of us. I know Matt in particular.
What are you guys doing for the holiday tomorrow? We're getting way too serious.
Look at this guy.
Wow.
It was July 3rd. What's everybody got going
I already
on?
started because this cup does not contain water.
Yeah, it feels like a Friday. This cup does not contain water either.
Mine-
What I think is always interesting about July 3rd is everyone in America, whether you know it or not, is in some sort of lottery right now because a certain amount of people in this country tomorrow are going to get their hands blown off. And isn't that crazy to think about?
What the
Right?
hell is wrong
Just
with you
whether
the past
you
2
like
weeks?
it or not.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen to some of us.
Who was the New York Giants football player that
Jason
had,
Pierre-Paul?
Yeah.
I was
I mean,
as surprised as anyone.
That worked out
Yeah.
good for him, though.
I mean, he's got some missing fingers. He's still getting paid. Is he
He's
still
all right.
playing?
Yeah, he's still playing. He plays
Dang.
for the Bucks now.
Yeah.
I think he was a Pro Bowler last
I think
year.
so.
Yeah, so-
got that club hand now.
Dude, we've got a great show. I mean, I'm excited. I talked to David Wood. So we've got coach, author, and performance expert David Wood on. And when I was talking to him before, this is kind of really hitting home where most people don't have a plan for life, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things he talks about is do you have a 4-step plan to living a regret-free life? So we'll bring David on here right now, and David, kind of give us the bird's eye view of who you are, what makes you the expert authority in this field.
Thank you. Well, I love how he started this because it's a perfect example. Nick, you started to talk about living a regret-free life and how life can be better, and then you guys had some really fun banter, and we're talking about people's hands being blown off. So we kind of have that choice every day in life to just kind of play around and maybe enjoy the moment, which is valid and good, and we should do it. But the question I want to ask today is, are we spending enough time looking at our life and making it the best life that it can be? And we get to draw on both of those, and we've kind of modeled both of those already in the space of 2 minutes.
I like this topic because, personally, I'm in a place of transition in my life, and I wouldn't say so much that I'm full of regret, but there certainly have been moments and times lost because I just wasn't present, right? And candidly, this podcast is one of the greatest things about all of our weeks. We really like doing this, and so it's always a real relaxing, decompressing experience. But I think for the most part, so many of us go out there expecting things from our day, expecting things from our life that we just don't get, and then are massively disappointed, and it fuels regret and other terrible decisions. So this is a poignant topic for me today, and I'm excited we're talking about this.
Well, let's.
Great. Well, to answer your question, go ahead.
No, go ahead, David. I want to hear the answer.
Well, yeah, to answer your question, Nick, I don't know if this is what qualifies me, but how I came to be doing this was I was working on Park Avenue. I had a cushy job consulting to Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies, and I was enjoying it. I didn't even know something was missing until I stumbled onto a personal growth course, and I thought they all smiled too much and they wore name tags. And I'm like, this looks a bit culty, and I don't want to be one of those self-help junkies. So I'm going to get in and get out. And I'm only doing one course and never doing a second one. Well, they cracked open my cynicism. They had me realize that life isn't just about results and financial success, that I actually do want deep connection in my life as well. And my life up until that point had not prepped me for how to handle the human component, truth, authenticity, deep connection. So I've spent the last 20 years, I quit my job, and I went into my own personal journey of how do I bring that into my life. And along the way, I went into coaching because as I discovered something, I found I love sharing it with others. So now here we are 20 years later, and what I do for a living and joy is coach high-performing leaders, entrepreneurs, and executives on getting the most out of their life and work, such that when they are on their deathbed, they can look back and say, I gave it everything. I have zero regrets.
Isn't that an interesting thing about getting older too? I'm in my 40th year, and I say this on the show quite a bit, but the years start passing a lot faster. And it seems like we work our whole lives to earn money to buy all of our time back, right? So we can go do the things that we love. And I'm currently walking out a really unique experience with myself. I just started doing transcendental meditation a couple of weeks ago to really kind of get in touch with that joy part. I feel like I'm a typically happy person, but I think there's a distinct difference between being happy in moments and being joyful in life. And so I think it's really cool that you've managed to find a way to make a career out of that. I just think that's really awesome.
Well, and I think so many people would be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think so many people would be amazed, especially our audience, right? So we're a 100% real estate related audience. I know that when I was first starting out in real estate, I just thought that if I could sell a certain amount, I would just have it made, right? And then if I had certain things in my life, I would just had it made. Right? I can't tell you how many times I told my spouse or significant other or whatever, I was like, people who drive Porsche Panameras don't have bad days. I remember saying that.
Such a douchey
I
thing to
found
say.
an old notebook that has my goals in there from a goal setting workshop that was in there. I just sold my Porsche a couple weeks ago because it was making me miserable, by the way, is where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that a lot of people would be surprised at how just building a large real estate business does not in and of itself bring you happiness. I think that we're probably three of the most stressed out people in the real estate business, and we run very large businesses. And so it's a really interesting topic, because that's you find that just having the means to be happy, meaning financial freedom or things like that, doesn't inherently in and of itself bring you happiness, right? And you've made a career of helping people find that. What are some steps? And obviously this is a snapshot of a much longer conversation, but if I'm working my butt off 60 hours a week and I'm having success and I'm building that big real estate business, I can tell you right now, you're probably not inherently just happy just waking up in the morning because you have that business. Your life is about a lot more than that. What are some initial steps I can be taking to start to find that deeper meaning and to find that inherent grace and happiness?
Yeah. Well, I've got a simple four-step process. It's not always easy to follow, but it's a simple process. But before I give you that, I want to double click on what you said. It's true that business success and financial success is not going to alone give you happiness. But I'm not one of those guys that says stop chasing the money and the success.
Right.
I think it's great. I love money. I want you to be massively successful. I'm just suggesting that while you're at it, take a little time out to check that your life is great too, for two reasons. One is because then your life will be great. Two, I say that translates to bottom line business success. If you develop better communication skills, if you're more truthful and authentic, if you're more courageous, you're going to do better at business and more people are going to want to work with you. So let's have money, financial success, and our life be amazing. Why not?
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Matt and I are business partners, and I do a lot. I handle our team meetings and stuff like that. I can't tell you how many times I found myself in our team meetings, my token kind of phrase is, all you need to sell real estate is to be able to speak English and type on a computer. Like, it's that simple, right? But the reality is there's a lot of setbacks and there's a lot of failure, and it's really, really, really easy to quit when you don't have inherent happiness in your life in other areas, right? And so that second point that you made really, really resonates with me, because I think that speaks to business success, is having something else that makes you happy, right? Having that inner peace, having something outside of just the monetary success making you happy allows you to go find monetary success.
Yes, that's right. So I came up with a 4-point plan because I've been coaching for a long time, and I found that these 4 things are generally required to create some change. I'll list them, and then we can go through them if you like. So the first one is real goals. The second one is real plan. The third one is being in real action. And the fourth one is making sure that you're experiencing real growth. Mm-hmm. Now, if we go back to the first one, real goals, a lot of people, in fact, most people, have not written down goals that they can achieve, say in 12 months' time, that would make them hugely happy.
Right.
It's kind of amazing, but we just don't tend to operate. We go about our day, we're reactive. So do you have real goals? And if you're saying, well, I'm not sure if I do, simple exercise you can do, grab a piece of paper, and at the top of it, what could be better?
I like that.
And then go through your health and well-being, your relationships, your business, and just start dreaming a little bit. What could be better? And that's a way that you could create 3 concrete goals, say in 12 months' time. I always add time to it because I'm a coach, right, and that's what we do.
Of course.
And then that'll get you handled on step 1.
I think that's huge.
I do. I like that a lot. I've recently been introduced to Michael Singer, and he says something very similar to that, talking about how people write down their goals. And if you ask somebody what would make them happy, they'll typically list out the things: travel, family, all of those. But at the end of the day, what everybody is really looking for is just that unfettered joy, right? Just the ability to truly be happy no matter what you're doing. And it's really hard to do, especially for a person like me who I let what happened yesterday affect tomorrow, and I'm very, very rarely present in the moment, which makes having real joy really difficult. Because, if I'm thinking about what happened yesterday and thinking about what happened tomorrow, I'm not spending any time enjoying what's happening right now. And I think that's one of the first, if you ask me what would be on my list, the first thing to change is I've got to find a way to be more present in every moment.
Yep.
Well, that's huge. I consider that a pretty high level goal. I like that.
It is, and I don't have any idea how the hell to get there, but that's what I'd put on my list.
But it's important in real estate because real estate is all about goal setting. I mean, every brokerage, every coaching program, everything out there, they're going to have your business planning clinics and your goal setting workshops and stuff like that. I think one of the fundamental flaws of the real estate coaching industry is this insistence, I think, on setting what I believe are entirely arbitrary goals. And that is, I want to sell this many houses this year. I want to make this much amount of money this year, without attaching that why to it, right? Without attaching that, what is it going to do for my life? What is it going to make better in my life? And then you get, agents that are setting goals probably 4 times higher than what their present resource and skill level are. And then when they aren't anywhere close to hitting them after the first quarter, you see them burn out and quit. And that's why we have an 87% burnout rate in this industry. So I really love that using such a simple exercise to take a little bit of an inventory and stock in your life and go, what could be better? That's huge, because I don't think enough people ask that question.
Yeah, well, since we're talking about happiness, a black belt move, if you want to take the next step around the goal setting, is don't start with what you want, but start with how do you want to feel?
Yeah.
So 12 months from now, this is how I want to feel, and then work backwards. What has me feel like that? For example, for me, I want to feel lit up and inspired and passionate about life. What gives me that state? Coaching and training. Yeah. So then a goal was to be coaching this many clients or doing this many training sessions. So that's an extra move if people are wanting to go a step further.
I love it.
And then let's dive into, so the next step is what? Real action, right? So let's dive into that.
A real plan.
Real plan.
Step 2 is a real plan. Yeah. So let's say you've got your goals. Not many people actually write down what would have to happen to get there. Mm-hmm. So for me, say I want to do 10 trainings. What would have to happen? Who would I need to call? What would my first training look like? What would the second look like? Start to map it out. And then this sounds so simple, but what has to happen each month between now and 12 months from now? Month 1, this is what needs to happen. Month 2, If you really want it to happen, you can go further and chunk it down to each week, and then even for the next 7 days, these are my targets,
Right.
what I'm going to do. So that's having a real plan.
It's interesting. Of course, we in real estate too. We do that same thing. We call them 411s with our brokerage and all this other stuff, where you're really breaking it down day by day. But I think the hardest thing for people to find those answers is they're asking very generic questions. And I come back to, like, what was it? What could be better?
Yeah, what could be better?
It's such a high level question, right? Because it takes you away from exactly what Brian was talking about, which then allows you to parlay into the second step of this, which is putting a real plan to it. Because I think if for me, as somebody who isn't typically, Brian, we were talking on another podcast earlier today, and we're in the process of trying to find me an assistant because I'm incredibly disorganized, right? So putting a plan to anything is a monumental task that escapes me. But when you ask a question about what could be better, and it breaks down to something as simple as joy or being present in the moment, that's something I can put real actionable items to. It's mostly mindset stuff. It's not things I can check a box for on a piece of paper. But I think there's a lot of things that if you're asking yourself the right questions, you can work your way through this goal setting and plan and then putting it to action. But you just really ultimately have to have a clear view. And it sounds like that's what you help, these higher level executives and entrepreneurs find, correct?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I'm kind of I love systems and results. And so this is where this 4-point plan came from. If you really want to make something happen, here's how to do it. But I'm also, the fourth part of it is the growth, which we're going to get to. But yes, I think is the answer to your question. And that brings us to the action. Real action. You may have real goals. You may have a real plan. Not that many people are implementing the damn plan.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary. The mind is like a monkey on crack.
Yep.
And you wake up in the morning. Do you do the 2 most important things that are going to move you towards those 12-month goals? No. You check Facebook, you check your email, and then you spend the next 4 hours responding to email. People come and knock on the door and interrupt you. You're getting text messages, blah, blah, blah. Or even without all those distractions, I can come up with my own and go, let me just work on this. There's an idea for this thing. We distract ourselves like crazy. So step 3 is actually find focused blocks of time where nothing is allowed to interrupt you, and you are working on the 2 most important things to move you towards what you have said is most important in your life.
What do you suggest to somebody, and this I know this is probably going to be such a case-by-case situation, but when it comes to putting that action in, is it as simple as truly just blocking off an hour of your day, closing the door, putting a sign on it saying, piss off, I've got stuff to do, right? Is it as simple as something like that? Or does it take more for somebody, because we're talking about a lot of mindset stuff here, and that's different for everybody.
Yeah, it's as simple as something like that, in that that's your first step.
Sure.
The night before you go to bed, write down the 2 most critical things that you plan to get done, and then you've got to honor that.
Yeah.
And so it is quite simple to turn your computer onto do not disturb so it doesn't ping you. Right. Turn your phone onto airplane mode and do not disturb, and then do not check email. Mm-hmm. Like, those things are simple. What my clients find is something will come up to derail them, but then the next week we talk about it. What was it? All right, what are you going to tweak and change? And then I've got one client, we've been at this for 10 months, and he now has focused blocks of time where he gets stuff done. Not all the time, but he's making real progress because he committed to making this change. So simple, yes. Easy, no. It's going to take time to have this become a habit.
So when people start to have that breakthrough, do you notice, like, if this is, I want to spend more time with family, or whatever if it's not business related, do you also see that the combo effect is that their businesses start to actually increase as well, and they're having better performance there?
Yes, I wish I had like a peer-reviewed study to give you data on this. I don't have it, but that just brought to mind Bradley Long, a client of mine I just worked with for about 10 to 12 months. And he thought he had to work so hard. He was doing, say 10-hour days, sometimes longer. And he thought that was the path to success. When we started having him look at whole life success and having him focus on what was most important, he was reducing his days to 4-hour days and then hitting record sales month after month. He's hitting $100,000 in sales each month. Made his life got better and his work hours got less.
Yeah, that's the
So it's
dream,
absolutely
right?
possible.
Well, it goes back to, for our listeners, here we go again. We're talking about mindset and accountability, right? It's just, there's just no other way about it, right? And we've got a lot of awesome examples just right here. I mean, for the people that are listening that have seen some of our stuff in the past, like we did a webinar recently that was titled How to Take 10 Listings Every Single Month. We had almost 400 people signed up for this webinar. And what people don't know is that it started on a Sunday at 6 p.m. At 5:59, we were still trying to figure out how to make a camera work because we'd never done a webinar before. But Nick said on Thursday, hey, we should do a webinar on Sunday. And we said, okay. And then we announced it to our group on Facebook. And now suddenly we're committed to actually taking the action to do it. The only thing that the three of us in here have done to get to, the top 50 business podcasts on iTunes and stuff like that, we just keep showing up here every week and doing the things that we are holding one another accountable for. And this is a good time to do a shameless plug that we've got our Tour Academy is going to be launching July 18th, so just a couple of weeks away now. And even right now, the content is great. You guys are going to love it. We're pouring our heart and souls into this thing. It's going to be real freaking tough for us to make July 18th because none of us have built an online course before, and it is a mess on the technical side. We have no idea what we're doing, but we're doing everything we need. We're getting up every day with that level of accountability because we've put it out there, and now it's out there and it's expected of us, and we're going to go do it, right? So the only way this show has been successful, so that anything that we've done has been successful, our businesses have been successful, is just figuring out what it is that we need to do that day and not making excuses to do it. So we've come back to this topic so many times on this show. I'm glad now that we have our guests saying the same thing because it gives some credibility to the crap
Right.
that we pound into you guys all the time. I love it though. That's huge for us.
It sounds like you guys commit sometimes without knowing how you'll get it done.
Oh,
It reminds me of the
Yeah, that's
story
most
of
of what we do.
Yeah, I think Mark Twain told a story about how they used to, as kids, go up the river in a boat, and whenever they got somewhere they weren't sure that they could even climb over the wall, they'd take their caps and they'd throw their caps over the wall because now,
So
they
got
had
to go get them.
to climb.
I
Yeah.
love it. That's
great.
awesome.
So let's hammer out what is the real growth part of what does step 4 look like?
Yeah, that's my favorite. I mean, the simple stuff on how to make things happen in time and space is real goals, real plan, real action. But I'm a geek for deepening connection in life. And the 3 things that I found really help that is have more truth, more daring, and more caring in your life. So the more I become truthful and authentic, the better my life gets and the deeper my connections get. The more daring I am and willing to step into my comfort zone and be courageous and risk some of the things I'm scared about, the better I feel about myself, the better my connections get and the better my business does. And then caring is about, I don't think it's a sexy topic because I like to talk about courage and truth. But I realized earlier in life that if I don't acknowledge my limitations and I don't take care of my body, my relationships, and my business, then life will whack me over the head. I will suffer and I will pay the price. So I've had to insert caring there because it's just critical.
I love the conversation around deepening connections and showing that. I mean, very obviously we all live in a world where we're very surface level attached to people. Everything that's happening is it's the surface of the ocean, right? It's kind of meaningless
Yes.
to the depth of what we can do, but it's also the most disruptive to our life. And because we're constantly living on this bullshit surface level in all of our relationships, we're constantly immensely disrupted by what's happening on the surface, where if we allow ourselves to go deeper in connection with fewer people, everything settles down. You settle it. I mean,
Yes.
these 2 guys are a perfect example. I have an incredibly close brother-like bond with both of them and able to share pretty much anything with them. And that is such a settling, relaxing feeling, knowing that you have somebody that you can go to, particularly as a male, right? We all walk around like nothing hurts us and we're Teflon. But to have other men that you can go to and have that deep connection with, I think it's just That's what we're all, at least for me particularly, that's what I am constantly striving for, is just these deeper connections with the people who truly matter. Because, you know, the people who matter the most are the ones I want to spend the most time with. Yeah.
You are a man after my own heart. You've mentioned being present, and I let it pass, and now you're talking about being on the surface of the ocean with most relationships. I've got a teacher and friend who says that we're in a billiard ball universe. We're just bouncing off each other as humans. And the courses that I'm leading these days, and for mainstream people and in prisons now, is about authentic relating, and it's being in present moment and sharing what I'm feeling and what I'm realizing that's happening this moment, and tracking what's happening for the other person in this moment, not so much in stories about the past or stories about the future. So yes, that's definitely a way to be present and deepen connections with anybody, a shopkeeper, or as you say, those who matter most to you.
It's difficult to do, right? It's because if we live in the past or live in the future, it's very easy for us to alter those events. The present is happening right in front of you. You can't bullshit your way through that. You are having a deep conversation, or you're not. You are connecting, or you're not. I can tell a story from yesterday or tell a story about tomorrow about how great it was or could be. But in the present moment, it's 100% truthful, and you cannot avoid it. And I think that's what makes it scary and incredibly rewarding when you have those moments that matter.
Yes, and I just realized I can model that really quickly by saying, I hear you speak about this deeper connection, I feel more lit up. I feel more energy, and I notice the grin on my face as I was listening to you. Yep. So that's an example of reporting what's happening now. And I tell you why I think it's difficult. It's difficult for the reason you said, and it is scary, but it's difficult because we haven't been trained in this.
Sure.
I wasn't taught as a kid to notice what's happening in me. I wasn't taught to stay here right now. I was taught to just go into my head and swim in thoughts and past and the future. This is alien to be present. But step by step, person by person, group by group, part of my mission is to bring us to a place where it becomes more commonplace to be connected around what's happening now.
I love that.
I think that's huge, yeah. Especially for, I know at least two of us in here are really, really deep into meditative practices and stuff. And I can tell you, as somebody who has too much caffeine in their system all the time and has really terrible attention span as well.
Why are you looking at me?
Finding my focus and being present is something that I've had to work on very, 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 very hard. And even still, I'm piss poor at it a lot of times. I mean, I can tell you just in my chair this morning when I was doing my meditations, I get to the office usually on the first one there, so I'll have about 30 minutes before everybody else comes in. And today was just an off day for me meditation-wise. I was doing my Headspace app and meditating, and I'm actually doing a meditative guided course just on finding my focus and being present right now. And I was off the rails today. My mind was all over the place. And so it is a challenge. It's amazing how we're not wired that way, how it's something that we need to work on. And it's incredibly rewarding when we can, though.
Yeah. Well, let's get a little practical, because I'm always thinking, how do we apply this to something we can do today? And one simple thing you can take on if you want all our listeners to apply this is notice something that's going on in your head that you're not sharing. It might be that you're just appreciating something that the other person said, or it might be something that's in between you that's kind of holding you back, or something that you're a little embarrassed to share. If you can notice that and your brain gives it up to you on a plate, consider actually finding a way to share it. Like, hey, I think I want to say something I wouldn't normally say just so I can practice being more real. Can I have a go at it? Most people are going to say, yeah, all right, shoot.
Like
and
that.
you just
Wow,
practice going that little level deeper.
I don't know if we want Brian to share everything.
Yeah, you obviously didn't watch last week's episode.
Yeah, you missed,
everybody else. Everybody but Brian.
Yeah, you missed last week's show about his $1 billion ideas that
all involve people being sad.
Yeah, it's all about disappointment. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit deeper. I mean, there's some, I like to do a lot more research, right, and especially for the show. And one of the talking points that you and I had, David, is getting out of your comfort zone and how to get out of it, right? And do you see when people are setting their goals and their plans, but then they struggle a little bit on that real action? Is it because they're having to get outside their comfort zone? You know, we all want these, we all have these dreams, but is it we're not getting them because we don't want to get out of our own way?
I just talked about this today, actually. The topic came up, and we were talking about I think we're all rats in a maze. I know it's not the most flattering metaphor, but we're all in a maze, and it's kind of like, to mix metaphors now, you know how the fish probably can't tell you about the water? The fish doesn't know it's in water because it's all around. So it's like that for us. And I think one thing that keeps us in that maze, that keeps us in our groove, is comfort. Yeah. We've trained ourselves to want comfort and to move away from discomfort. And I don't think that's bad if you love the maze. If you're enjoying all aspects of your life and you don't think you'll have regrets on your deathbed, then you're set.
Right.
But if you want to expand the maze or knock down a couple of walls or see what's over there beyond one of the walls, I think the key, the clue, the signpost is discomfort.
Yeah.
What would be a little edgy for you, little scary? And we just talked about telling another layer of truth. That'll do it. If you start doing that for the next 10 years, you will find yourself going into, example, I just met a woman on the weekend, and I wasn't going to say it, but finally I said, look, I'm chickening out here. I'm being a wuss. I'm going to tell you, feel drawn to you. I've had a lot of attention on you this weekend. I'm attracted, and I just want to let you know. You don't need to do anything with it. And it gave us this incredible 10-minute conversation, found out that she had similar experience. But I was super uncomfortable in going there, and it opened up a whole new connection.
You know what I love most about that? I think, one, that's a story that's relatable to everybody, right? When you bring that aspect of it, all of us have been in that situation where we're like, there's somebody you see that you want to talk to, right? The cool part for me as I kind of started, because I'm not transparent about everything, but there's a lot of parts of my life that I'm willing to share with the public, and then even more that I'll share with the people in my life. It draws the right people in. I was so concerned about keeping it vanilla to appeal to everybody, and what I found out was through transparency and through being authentic, maybe there are people that went away. First off, they were chicken shit and didn't say to my face. They probably just left. Like, nobody's ever came up to me and been like, I hated that. I'm no longer talking to you, right? It's never been that bad. But secondarily, it's pulled in people into my life that I probably never would have had a relationship with to the depth and the level that I would have. So that uncomfortable, there's nothing that's happened in my life when I've been uncomfortable that's been necessarily bad, right? Almost all of those moments have led to something bigger, have led to a larger experience. And I think that's why people should press into that discomfort a little bit more. It's usually discomfort based out of your own insecurities. It's not that the situation's going to go wrong, right? It's usually just you're insecure about what everybody else is going to think. And chances are they feel the exact same way anyways.
100%.
You've brought up a really important topic, because I have a belief along your lines that if someone's going to leave because I'm more authentic, then they're supposed to leave.
Absolutely.
And if I'm more authentic, I might attract someone that I wouldn't have attracted because I'm being myself. I have a belief, and that gives me a bias towards more truth. If you don't hold that viewpoint and you don't buy that, then okay, I could understand you not being more truthful. But if you want to drink the Kool-Aid and you want to try it out, I've been doing it for 20 years, and I'm not going backwards. I just keep going in this direction because I like how it's going.
You look like a relaxed and happy guy, so I'll take your word for it.
Well, who was it who talked about joyful versus happy in the moment?
Me.
Someone mentioned.
Me, Matt. Yeah.
Well, that was a revelation to me. That was a distinction I didn't have. I realized there are lots of moments I'm unhappy. I have happiness and I have unhappiness, but I think I am generally a joyful person, and I hadn't spotted that until you said that. So thank you for that.
No, you're very welcome. I feel that same way in my life quite a bit too. It's just that over-encompassing sense. I feel like a nice guy. I just want to know I think if you have to ask yourself if you're joyful all the time, you probably got some areas where you could be more joyful, right? So you know or you don't know.
Here's the thing. You ask my wife, and I'm a skeptic, negative person, and then I come around to joyful, right? Like, I always think everything's half full, or half empty.
Right.
And not half full. So, I mean, that's something I will dig down. I mean, there's some great touching points here, and I kind of want to let's kind of pull this back into how this can relate into your real estate business. One thing that you touched on, David, is that, when you were going up to that lady and kind of telling her, how what your thoughts were. It's the same thing of to a client or potential client. Is a lot of times we will side skirt of asking for business, right? Because we're afraid of that rejection and we're afraid of coming on too strong. This can be put in any life situation. You're gonna go, Matt, this is how I feel about you. Like, whatever. This is the same thing to a client. Like, I'm asking for the business to become your real estate agent.
Yep.
And there's one thing right there that, this is all great touching points of making sure that we have a better, healthier, happier life. But if you can take a couple of other things away from it, is go and ask for business.
Yep.
And I guarantee you will get more clients from it too.
And be authentic
Yeah,
and
what I-
truthful, people. Right? No, I didn't mean to cut you off, David.
That's fine. Hearing that, I realize what I want for all real estate agents and everyone in the world. I want you to find yourself right for wanting that business. It's okay and good and valid and a contribution to the world that you want that business. I'm assuming you want to do a really good job at it. And if you can find yourself right for it, then you can just own that and go up and share it. Ideally without attachment. I want your business. I'd love you as a client. I think I think you'd be really happy with the work I do. What would it take?
Yep.
And I say yes or no.
I think that's huge. I think that one of the reasons that we don't ask for the business is just because we don't feel that we deserve it. I think Matt's touched on this a whole bunch of times, just struggling with that fear of not being enough, especially when you're early in your career, not feeling qualified, not feeling like, somehow subconsciously feeling like they could do better, or it's a privilege to have them, which it is, but it's a privilege to work with you as well. And I think that if we really embrace that more, then having those conversations would be a little bit easier.
Sure.
So David, let's talk about giving you some business, right? You have a giveaway that you're offering. You're offering up graciously to one of our guests, and we'll figure out what we need to do on this giveaway. But you're offering up a free session, correct?
Yeah, discovery session.
Discovery session. Kind of walk us through what is a discovery session.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be so weird to hire a coach without finding out if you gel and without finding out what you might get from coaching. So what I do in a discovery session with someone, and I don't charge for this because, one, I love doing it, but two, it's how I find the right people to work with long term. We create a plan for your life and business, and if you want to go and implement that plan on your own, great. I hope you'll keep me posted and let me know how it goes. If we both think that coaching could have a major impact on that, then we can talk about long-term coaching.
I love
So that's how that works.
I love that you said about gelling with coaches, because we were, we're speaking on a panel in September with some other people, and there's some people on there who really do real business, and there's other people who really candidly don't do shit.
Shots fired.
But they're all on the same panel speaking about different things and different ways they've grown certain aspects of their business and other opportunities. But more importantly, making sure that you vibe with the right coach, that they're giving you the proper advice for you, that's such an amazing opportunity, especially with somebody like you who I don't know your list of clients, but I got to imagine there are people who are making some real moves, which I just think is cool, because so many people out there just selling a bogus program with a bunch of nonsense information that isn't really helpful, that they haven't even done themselves. And people are just getting roped into it. And I love the fact that your transparency and authenticity comes through even in your business. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're very welcome, man.
Generally, I think you want a coach. People are going to gravitate towards a coach who has something or is being something that they want.
Mm-hmm.
So, they've either got something in their life development that the person says, I want to head in that direction, or they've achieved something that the person wants to achieve. And a great way to get a feel for that is, if you can, get on the phone or get on a Zoom call with a coach, get a session. And for some people, one session's enough.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they need. And that's fine. And for others, it becomes clear pretty quickly that coaching could have an impact. So shall we tell them where to go if they want to?
My next
request
question
it?
is, where do we find you and where does everybody go?
You were reading our mind.
All right. Really easy. Go to playforreal.life.
Playforreal.life.
Playforreal.life. and there's a big button right up the top that says request a session. And I will say too, even if you don't want to get on the phone just now, say I don't know, you're shy or something like that, go through the process and stop just before booking a call, because there's a life assessment that takes 5 minutes, and you'll get a lot of really good information for your life and your business out of that 5 minutes. If you want to continue to book a call, we'll review your results and create a plan for you.
That's awesome. And we'll make sure to link it everywhere.
Yeah, we'll have that linked everywhere. I already put it in the YouTube comments since we're live there right now. And then when we go replay live, fake live in Facebook, it'll be there. And then if you're listening on iTunes, again, leave us a review. Let's go ahead and do that.
Yes, review these guys.
Yes, thank you so much.
They got a lot of energy. They deserve more listeners. So, yeah.
And there's so
I'm
much
impressed with you guys.
Thank you.
And you don't know if you're going to have your hands tomorrow to leave a review, so do it now.
Yeah. And there's so much that, I mean,
true.
I am looking at the overview of David. Yeah, David sent me some takeaways when we were talking, and there's some things that we need to have him back on, like, why being a more authentic and daring leader translates to more growth and profit. I mean, there's so much more that we could probably do this. Yeah. We could have a Joe Rogan style.
We can go so deep on this
come
authenticity
back for
thing,
sure.
3-hour
extended
podcast
version.
So we would love to have you back on, David, and go to playforreal.life and sign up to do a free discovery session. I mean, let's come on. He's offering this up to everyone for free.
Yeah.
And
hang on, let me clarify. I can't say yes to everybody. There are some points to qualify, but I can say yes to most people who request a session. I just want to be in integrity about the
100%.
Well, and look, you still have stuff to too. I mean, I'll tell you, David, it's been a real pleasure for me personally. You have a calming presence, and I've personally enjoyed talking to you, and I'm really excited to have you back on and dive deeper on some of this stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I'm appreciating so much how you guys. Yes, it's about real estate success, but it's obviously. There's a flavor of this that I really resonate with, and I'm grateful that you guys are not just the nitty gritty of like Facebook ads and all this, but it's like, how are you going to hack the mindset as well so that your life is great and your business is great? So appreciating that about you guys and your podcast.
That's the most important part to us, so we really appreciate the value that you brought today.
When people listen to this, the multiple replays of this, it comes back to mindset, right? And we totally believe that if you get your mindset right, you will be successful in this industry and probably every industry that you're in. So and have a happier life. So one thing that we want to promote is Tour Academy.
Speaking of learning how to run Facebook ads,
So we do
Tour Academy. We do also do
that. we do teach how to run Facebook ads. We let Brian teach that, and then we've got prospecting like a pro. I mean, that is my class right there.
Taking more agent-to-agent referrals.
Agent-to-agent referrals.
All kinds of cool stuff.
It's going to start with 10 right out of the gate.
Yep.
On July 18th when we launch, there will be 10 courses ready and available to go. That's outside of our Elite Membership Mastermind, which is going to be 2 monthly mastermind calls with the 3 of us, and a whole bunch of other resources. So check out touracademy.com, touracademy.com to sign up. We're giving away we're giving it for half price if you get on the wait list before we launch this thing on the 18th, and then it's doubling. So
half price of $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure you sign up before then, because I'm not screwing around. I'm raising the price immediately, midnight on the 18th.
David, thank you so much, man. It has been a pleasure. We truly appreciate you coming on, and can't wait to have you on again, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Derek, take us out, my man.